Hello, 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 hello. Okay, so I this just happened to me, and I had to tell somebody, and I figured it might as well be you. I had to share the story because I needed to capture what happens in my everyday life, and it's like this very vivacious, like life-giving cycle. And yeah, I just had to share it with you. So okay, so I wanted to encapsulate and like share a story about how, as a feminist, and I'm a staunch feminist, how, as a feminist, I have an unfair advantage because I know how to activate my feminine energy. And I live in and breathe in this most of my time, most of my life. And this just happened to me, and I had to share it with you that I just got another unfair advantage. And it happens all the time. I'll give you tons of examples, as much as I have time for, but I like jotted it down that I was coming home and I was parking on the street. And there I drive a Mini, so I could fit in the spot that I was eyeballing. So I like go to parallel park because, I can parallel park. I'm a city girl through and through. And the vehicle that is the front vehicle I'm parking behind is this like huge like van, like the utility type van, like not your regular creepy white van, but like extra size, right? And there's some guy fumbling in the back, and he's like, he like hops off the ladder, and he like slams the doors closed because I'm in a parallel position, and I'm like, okay, flexing my muscles. I'm like, I can fit in that itty bitty space, like I know I can, and I'm fixing to do it, and he throws the doors closed and he runs to the front of the van. I had like a little moment, like, I see you, dude. I'm not going to hit you. That's what I thought was happening. But what he was doing was he was closing up his van to get into the front and move the van forward for me so that I had more space. So it was easier. And I had to share this story, and I in that moment I'm like, oh, I literally said out loud, he couldn't hear me, like, oh, thanks, buddy. Like, what a sweet gesture. And I parked with ease. I would have parked with ease anyway, of course. But it was very nice to have the extra space and wiggle room. And it immediately triggered the thought that this happens to me all the time, all the time. I mean, this is one example, and there's actually more to the story, and I'll tell you in just a second. But for example, just a couple of days ago, I went to the store, and I'm walking to the store, and it's the store a store that needs to have the door manually opened, and I see a man coming through, and I would have actually beat him, but I was like, I'm going to just like relax and ease into this and like make this a very smooth transition. And he opens the door for me. And this happens all the time. Like almost every time I go somewhere, if there's a door, there is some almost like by magic, a man opens the door for me. This is not, this might have been happening all the time, but because I am aware of my feminine energy, because I'm aware of what is life giving for me and how and I'm appreciative of that. And I've done this inner work, and I'm healing this always like under attack part of my anxiety, that I'm able to recognize it and like create that cycle. So you see it more and more. And as a feminist, the reason I bring this up is that there's so much frustration. I totally get it. I'm with you on. There's a lot of frustration about, men in the world living in a patriarchy, all of the unfair advantages that men have just because they got a dick. Like, what the hell? And it can be really frustrating, and we can take it out on individual men, but much of this is institutionalized, and much of this is just creating more dissonance inside our own minds, right? So now it's like, okay, we want to find or marry or love a man or a parent, a brother, what have you, and we're frustrated with men, and we quote unquote hate men, right? And there's this like the 4B movement, like all of these things, like whatever, all of these like kind of anti-men sentiments. And it's really sad because most men, I believe, if we were to give them a chance to reside in their masculine energy, they would show up and deliver. And for me, they do. And in relationships where I didn't allow that to happen, those relationships suffered. Those relationships ended and went in a direction that they didn't have to go. Like they could have ended very differently if they ended at all. And I want to like drive the point home that if you are a feminist, that doesn't mean you can't embody your feminine energy, right? I all the time, if I have oh my gosh, just 3 days ago, a Wednesday, I went and parked next to a man in a big truck. I've got a little Mini Cooper, and he parked at the same time, and we were somewhat close, but it's fine. I'm a city girl. I'm cool with it. But he comes out and he checks and he says, "Do you have enough space? Do you need me to move?" Now, again, this is not like earth shattering, but this is what happens when you have an energy and you have faith and you have trust. You have trust in yourself and you have trust in men, right? I have a mantra. I had to teach myself this as a feminist. Like I had to teach myself, like, men love to serve and protect me. Men love to serve and protect me because I had for so long thought that I have to like compete with men. They are the bad guys in my life. And when I made this shift, suddenly my life got a lot easier. Men are helping me, strangers, right? These are all like strange men are like helping me and expecting nothing, asking nothing, leaving the situation, not expecting anything, helping me move heavy bags and boxes, uh, all of this stuff. So I want to encourage anybody who's watching or listening to figure out how you can tap into your feminine energy more and be amazed at the masculine you can inspire with your feminine energy. So instead of feeling like you are competing with men, be an inspiration to men. Be a force for good, for change, for good for men, and not in a negative way, but in a very positive way. And you'll be amazed at how much you get back and the kind of unfair advantages you get in life and how easy life gets to be. So that's my like coach brain bringing together my life for you. If you have any thoughts or questions, I am here. You can reach out with anything. I'm excited always to talk to y'all. But with that, yeah, I'm gonna run, and I'm already in my jammies, so I'm gonna snuggle in with a book and talk to you tomorrow.